Hey everybody, this is James Wallace with Transit. We're coming back at you guys with our next installment of Rhythm and Motion, our video vocal percussion series. Now you might have noticed that we haven't posted video for a couple of weeks. We've been kind of busy lately, been on the road, been tied up with some things, so we're going to try to get back to our normal weekly posting schedule from here on out. As always, if you have a comment, if you have any feedback, if you have a video response, just leave it with us. We're going to make sure to get to all those as we keep moving along. Alright, so this week I want to look at with you guys the idea of syncopation. Now, when we talk about syncopation in music, what we're talking about is just any variance, any disturbance, any change in an established flow that gives kind of an unexpected feel to the song. You might have heard this referred to as doing something offbeat, or putting a sound offbeat, or placing it in an offbeat position. That's something that's said often. But really it's just any kind of little change or variance, or any kind of little disturbance in a pattern that you've established in a song that gives it this kind of unexpected feel and maybe more of a dynamic to the listener. And that's exactly why I like syncopation so much, and I think it's so effective, is I can add some more color rhythmically to what you're doing with the song. You know, if you're going along the song and the feel and the rhythm and the groove is the same throughout, and then all of a sudden there's a change either within the pattern or maybe a third of the way through the song, or maybe toward the end of the song or something like that, that makes the listener kind of sit up a little bit and listen a little more closely because of that little change they've heard. I think that's why it's so effective, really just as effective with vocal percussion as it is with a regular drum kit. And I've discovered a little tip, a little trick that helps me keep the syncopated feel when I do that in my patterns, and I'm going to share that with you guys here in just a second. But first I want to just give you guys a quick example of what syncopation sounds like. And this is basically the pattern taken from a John Mayer song. It's the song Waiting on the World to Change. Now, I'm not particularly a fan of this song, but it's certainly one I think most of you will know, and it demonstrates pretty clearly the idea of syncopation. So again, this is the basic beat from Waiting on the World to Change by John Mayer, and it's got a little syncopated feel toward the end of it. Here we go. Right? That's basically it, just over and over again. And you can tell at the end of each phrase, each iteration, the snare sound is pushed offbeat to give it that little bit of kind of a hanging, unanticipated effect, in my opinion. Now, as I mentioned, the tip or the trick that I've developed to help me kind of keep the feel of syncopation as I go through is literally, very simply, I just put an additional sound where that shifted sound would go. So if I'm shifting, for example, a snare drum from a beat 4 to an and of beat 4, what I'll usually do is I'll just stick an extra hi-hat in its place to keep the pattern moving along and get it to that offbeat, that unexpected feel. All right, and so what I want you guys to do this week is take this beat that I've done. It's a very simple, very basic beat that incorporates syncopation. I want you guys to work on it and work on putting that extra little sound in to help you keep the feel. So this is going to be our beat of the week to get the feel of syncopation. It's going to be very simple. We're going to use our B kick drum, our T hi-hat, our PF snare, and that's pretty much it. And then we're just going to, again, shift the snare toward the end of each iteration. So here we go. This is the beat of the week. I want you guys to practice this to get the feel of syncopation. Here we go. Right, you can hear again at the end of each phrase the snare drum is shifted over and there's an extra hi-hat put in there. Now, if you want to give it even a little more color, one thing you can do is you can change the dynamic of those extra hi-hats. So, for example, when you get to that extra hi-hat sound, you can make it a little bit softer as you proceed into that unexpected snare drum. So it might sound like this. Something like that. Alright guys, I want you to work on that easy beat of the week for the feel of syncopation. Once you get it, try to incorporate it into some of your songs. Work with your other bandmates, work with your vocalists, especially work with your bass singers and your other rhythm section singers, and really try to work in syncopation in some of your songs. It can really be a cool effect and really give some additional color and additional life to what you're doing. So for next time, until next time, this is James Wallace with Transit. We'll see you guys when we're back with our next installment of Rhythm and Motion, our video vocal percussion series.